Hey tubers, welcome back for another adventure. So I'm home with a fresh load of flea market pickings from Pennsylvania, and I gotta tell you, happiness is a full truck. Stay tuned, we'll go through a bunch of this stuff. Okay, so I was at the Thomasville Morningstar Flea Market, Thomasville, Pennsylvania. And kind of from the shantytown area, they kind of have an outer ring where people have sheds that they permanently occupy, and they kind of store stuff in them and sell stuff from them. And quite honestly, a lot of the stuff just gets packed in the sheds and they only take out very little. But luckily, I managed to find a trailer load of stuff behind one of the sheds that somebody was basically stacking sheet metal in, or scrap metal in. And the items you kind of see in the picture are from that. As an example, this is a rolling clothing display, but what I liked about it was, see the way those come out and lock? And I have 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. So imagine you take them out and lock them, right? And you have a pair of them, and now you have a shelf. And once again, when you don't want them sticking out, you could just fold them down. This is actually fairly heavily, and I'm told it was picked from a dumpster behind Dick's when Dick's went out of business. So these bolt right out, right? You could see bolts, actually those ones further in, that they're kind of bolted to brackets that come off of this. So anyway, that's the main reason why I was really after this. The electric wheelchair, I think the batteries were shot on it. Other than the batteries, it's complete. It's got all the connectors, both cases. It's got the remote control there. What do I plan on doing with it? I haven't tested it, so it was kind of in there. These wheels freewheel as well as are driven by the motor. But my plan for this would be to make a really cool cart, electric cart, to kind of buzz and play around with and so forth. You know, the kind of things. I don't want it to be a handicap cart any longer, because that's not what I want to use it for. But just a cool electric cart to play with. And angle iron, you know, bed rails, always handy, as you guys know, anybody who builds things. And I got this chrome front bumper. It does have a little bit of damage on it. And once again, my understanding is all this stuff was from dumpster diving, and it cost me 40 bucks out of pocket. So I think if one is even just putting their hot little hands on some good battery boxes, and you know, the rolling rack with all the shelf, the additional shelf features, you know, I think I did good. I'm getting better at it. So let's see what else I got. The trailer tires were from back up on the hill, still Morningstar, and I gave him 15 for the pair. They obviously probably have seen better days as trailer tires. They have 10-inch rims, and I plan on putting them on the back of the donut go-kart, right? I think for that they'll be perfect. They kind of got that domed bowling ball look about them. They're a little bigger. That off-road golf cart, ATV powered golf cart. Has plenty of power, so I don't think it'll have any trouble spinning these, and I think it'd be a nice upgrade. And it gets me a set of back tires off of that are fine and hold air and all that, just in case I need spare. So once again, the pair were 15 bucks. This was probably the best deal of the weekend. I got this from Williams Grove. So there's this huge box of fittings. These were in there, and I kind of picked these out, and I was going to buy them. You guys know I pay almost $8 for this fitting alone from Home Depot, right? So 8, 16, very similar, you know, 24. So as I was picking these fittings out, she said, well, you can have those fittings for $8, or you could take it all for $25. Well, I don't need to tell you what these 2-inch fittings go for, right? So, you know, I put them all back in the box, and I picked the box up, and I said, wow. I said, you sure? Only 25? She goes, yep, 25. So I gave her the 25, and I brought this home, and all the fittings weigh 20 pounds. And as you could see, they would be considered #1 copper at about $2.50 a pound, give or take a little bit. That means I bought $50 worth of copper for $25. So I'm very, very happy with that deal. And more than that, once again, I kind of got the fittings I want. Now, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with some of these. I mean, they're specifically for heating, or, I mean, obviously the bigger stuff, though with the reducer, this might be more of a commercial heating type thing, right? But anyway, I own them now. Some of these are big enough where you can almost cut pieces off of it, pound it flat, and turn it into plate. So anyway, best deal of the weekend shows up in copper. On the tailgate right now is the $1 or less type stuff, and I obviously have plenty of Ryobi 18-volt tools, but when you're picking them up for $1 or less each, you can't help but grab them. Or, you know, the 12-volt battery charging system that goes into maintenance mode for under $1. This is all red LED, and these things kind of strobe and flash, and the LED, once again, under $1. You know, came with the charger. There is a battery in it. I'm not thinking it's a very good battery. I have a rollaway downstairs that I put all these assorted screws and nuts and bolts, any weird size stuff I come across, and quite honestly, it turned in handy. You know, these were probably only $1 each. The next bunch of stuff, kind of like this. So those 5 items, they were in a box, and the guy, I guess they were $1 each in the box. But when I was just starting out, to have a fluke, or this is a night meter, was a big deal. It looks like it's got no use on it. The battery didn't rot in it. It looks real nice. This is the probe attachment that goes with it. The Harbor Freight meters are free. Radio Shack, this doesn't look like it was used at all. You might say, you know, what are you going to give yourself a pedicure with this? But actually what it is, quite honestly, is it's a battery powered Dremel tool, right? And let's try not to lose the pieces. But yeah, it's just a battery powered Dremel tool, and it came with 4 good Duracell batteries in it. Once again, how could you pass that up for $1? You know, plus the various bits, though I'll probably be using my own cutoff and so forth for that. And, you know, I mean, there was other stuff in that box like these tote, you know, flashlights. They really have no value. You can get them for free at Harbor Freight, but all in all, not bad. The robot was $1. You know, he just goes around in circles. Every once in a while, when my son visits with his dog, it's always good to let that loose on the kitchen floor to keep the dog distracted for a few minutes. And a Magnite. Once again, the batteries did not rust. It's in good shape from that point of view. It's got a Edison filament type light bulb in it, but one could put an LED on it. It's still got the cover for the switch. Just, you know, for $1, you put the LED light bulb in there and it puts you in really nice shape. As I was putting the meter away, I remembered some of the jokes we would play at work. We had this one guy named Ralph who used to write all over the outside of his tools on magic marker, Ralph. So we would do things like if there was a meter like this somebody left lying around, we would just write Ralph on the back of it, and sure enough, when Ralph was roaming around, sooner or later he would find the meter. So we would do this with meters like this, flashlights, anything we could write Ralph on, we would write Ralph on. And before you knew it, poor Ralph couldn't close his toolbox because he like picked up everybody's meter and flashlight and pliers and anything else. Once again, we could write Ralph on. We used to get great laughs out of that because, you know, people would come up to Ralph and yell at him and say, hey, you know, that's mine. And how do you know it's yours? Because, well, I put my name inside the battery compartment. And look, it says Tony in there. That's not yours, it's mine. And, you know, they would accuse Ralph of, you know, taking things and putting his name on it. And we would, the other engineer I worked with and I would get great enjoyment out of this. I don't know if any of you guys worked factory type jobs, but some of the jokes that are played there, I mean, you're with these guys and we used to work 12-hour shifts, right? 3 days on, 4 days off, 4 days on, 3 days off, right? So you were with these people a lot, more than you're with your spouse. So you learn everybody's habits. I mean, we do little things like you knew somebody was fairly regular after drinking coffee, you would run around and put, you know, out of order signs on all the bathrooms, or you would just go inside and, you know, lock the main door, so to speak, and they would pound and scream and, you know, you'd hear them scurrying off to another bathroom. So anybody who's worked a factory job, you realize there's a lot of messing around you could do. Particularly the bathroom stunt, the other engineer and I were both in, John and I were both in at the same time. So we coordinated pretty well and we really shut down most of the bathrooms as the guy was running around trying to find his spot. That one was complained to management and we both got hauled in and, you know, spoken to on that. And none of us could stop laughing. The manager couldn't stop laughing and we couldn't stop laughing about, you know, creating a situation by pretending the bathrooms were out of order. So just a quick reminder as I'm putting this junk away. So in the future, you're going to see a big red Craftsman rollaway that we bought. I left that at my son's house. And when we bought that, there was a bunch of loose stuff that the people said, hey, you could take all this stuff for free. And in that, I mean, I took it for the metal box, but it came with this respiratory set. Once again, I grabbed it for the metal box. This was elsewhere, but it came with those taps, plumbing taps. This was there, obviously, you know, flare for copper, you know, stuff for threading, pipes, there's dye in there, hammerheads, you know, all that assorted stuff. Once again, it was free. This is for sewer pipes. What you do is you put cast iron pipes together, stuff a little oakum in there, melt some lead, put this around the pipe and pour yourself a lead joint. I don't know what this is. I don't know, pull the pin and chuck it. It says it's an alcohol torch. I don't know what one uses an alcohol torch for. I'm sure one of you would tell me. This is a Cutco knife. The fork, you know, the cleaning brush for copper pipes. Roller skates and somebody's stinky socks in there. This is old, right? I mean, look at this box that it's in. I picked it up because I thought maybe the wheel bearings would be good. I mean, free, right? You're gonna leave it behind. This is an ignition light. We weren't like able to go through the stuff like, oh, I'll take this and not take that. It's kind of like take it all or don't. This is called, they call it a gas kit. It seems to be for cleaning gas pipes, right? If you gotta drill out the orifices, or I'm not sure what that is. You know, the pin vise. And if you go in here, there's a bunch of small files. So anyway, this was free. So I don't know how you guys are. If something's interesting, I'm interested in it. If something's interesting and free, I'm all over it. So obviously I was all over this stuff. Next comes the pile of returns. These were returned at the store for whatever reason. This, I just put a charge on it and it seemed to take the charge. What this thing does is it has a lithium ion battery in it, and obviously it lights up. And you could charge your cell phone, and you could also you could charge this thing on this USB cable right from your car or truck. Handy carrying case, right? The whole shooting match. So that was part of the, oh, it flashes SOS also. So there's that. This is one of those solar stake lights, but it's not the Dollar Tree version. You can see you could adjust the little solar panel. It too has a lithium ion battery in it. You can see the tag that says it's a return item. So this and these two guys, this is battery powered motion detector light. It takes C batteries, and this is the one that runs on house power. This one I tried out. Just, you know, plugged the wires in, and I put it on test mode because it was daylight outside, and I would wave my hand in front of it and it would come on for the allotted amount of time and go off, and then you wave your hand again and once again on for the allotted time and off. I haven't tried it at night, but even if it works that well, that's a long way toward good. I haven't tried this one out yet, so you know, you're kind of taking your chances, or I took my chances with it. So once again, they were calling $5 each, or you know, $20 for all of it. I think these things are close to 50, right? 40 or 50. So the fact that this works more than paid for the entire pile, the fact that that works, this is like a $20 item. You know, I think, oh, and this works also. Turns out the battery wasn't making contact in it, so I just, you know, bent things a little bit so the battery would make contact. It came right on. It works great. I set it up on the windshield of the truck. It seemed to take a charge. It would be on all night and so forth, so that seemed to work. Other stuff, this is like an oversized wristwatch, right? You can see it's made by Timex, and it was $3, and then I, you know, needed batteries for it. Spent another $5 on batteries, and you can see the 2 batteries I put into it. These batteries are good to get once in a while, just to have around the house between, you know, what's not plugged in, what's plugged in, and so forth. You know, then there's just, you know, sorted items. You're kind of going around and, oh, how much for the bucket? $1, so you pick it up. This capacitor tester, it was in that tool cabinet, so I'm not sure. My son didn't want it, so I'm not sure if I should call it part of the $45 or part of the free stuff that it came with. Once again, $1. I think I ended up giving him It says 4, but I didn't pay him that much for these. I don't know, call it 3 just off the top of my head. Then, you know, just other assorted stuff. This is to make corners. I think I gave him a couple of bucks for it. The flashing light was $1. Wire nuts, I think I paid $1 for it. The oxygen regulator, it looked like to be in really nice shape. I gave him $3 for it. This box is full of book matches, so to speak. Handy, just don't let them get wet. That was part of the free stuff. The saw stuff on the bottom, part of the $45 cabinet. I think they were 25 cents each. Hopefully that does the spark plug on an all-terrain vehicle. I'm not sure what that's going to do. Hopefully one of them does the spark plug on an all-terrain vehicle. The bag of Craftsman sockets, there was like twice as much, twice more than this, but a bunch of it was half-inch drive, 12-point. So I just left all the half-inch drive 12-point at my son's house. And once again, actually it wasn't that much. It was $6, and there was twice as much. And this is all Craftsman stuff. So I just can't pass up a deal on Craftsman sockets, especially if the old stuff made in America. So couldn't go wrong at that. I think that's more or less all of it. The jigsaw came home because it wasn't starting properly. You had to kind of fuss with it to get started. This plant was part of the deal also. I mean, one could just bolt it up on a shaft and spin the heck out of it and do your sanding, right? You put in an adhesive. But what I like about it is it's flat. So if one just you could put very fine paper on it, you know, disc like this, glue it down. And then if you just need to kind of touch up a gasket surface, you can very gently make sure you're uniform and all, but you could just kind of buff some scratches out. Once again, very, very fine. So anyhow, I think that's all of it. You know, I picked from the t-shirt guy, you know, two t-shirts for t-shirts, 6 for $5 or 6 for $10, you know, for what I do to them. That's a great deal. Anyway, yeah, I think that's all of it. Oh, this is one of those plastic or soft car carriers. You know, you rope it down to the top of your car and you zip it closed and you put all your stuff in it. I bought it because it's really like the right material to make all-terrain vehicle seats out of it. But I've been kind of messing with it. The zippers are in really good shape and all, so I'm not sure I'm going to cut it up. Once again, it was only $1. How could you go wrong? That much material for $1. I think that's all of it. You know, I love stuff like this. This Disco Wages. You manufactured 100% in the USA, made by this son. You know, Grand Junction, Colorado. These are just gauges you would put in your car. That's what they look like. Just I don't know. If I had to guess, 60s, maybe 1970. But I think that's how far back I would go. Yeah, I like the vintage items. It seems that I can find a lot of the vintage stuff out in Pennsylvania. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this flea market haul. I enjoyed shopping for it. I have a good time. It's kind of like a hunt when I go to the flea market. I call it like a hunt because I'm there really going at, you know, what kind of deal can I get and what could I find. So folks, I want you all to keep your feet down, your heads up, and I want you all to get out and enjoy each and every day. You all take care now. Bye.